You bought a GMC truck because you wanted reliability, capability, and something that would last. But here is the harsh reality I have seen in my 20+ years working on these trucks. The difference between a GMC that runs strong at 300,000 miles and one that needs a $5,000 transmission rebuild at 120,000 miles comes down to maintenance. Not luck, not how hard you drive it. Maintenance. I have watched customers pour tens of thousands into repairs that could have been prevented with a few $100s of routine service. And I have seen guys drive their Sierras and Yukons past 400,000 miles, spending almost nothing on major repairs because they followed a simple maintenance routine. Today I am going to give you the exact maintenance schedule that mechanics use on their own GMC trucks, the routine that prevents the expensive failures most owners never see coming. This is not what the quick lube place tells you. This is what actually works based on decades of hands-on experience. Let's get into it. Number 12. Rust prevention and undercarriage care. Most people think rust is just cosmetic until I show them a frame that is rotted through or a brake line that snapped because of corrosion. I work in the Midwest where we salt roads heavily in winter, and I cannot tell you how many GMC trucks I have seen with perfectly good engines and transmissions that are worthless because the frame rusted out. Wash your undercarriage regularly, especially if you drive in areas where they salt the roads. I'm not talking about a quick spray at the car wash. I mean really getting under there and flushing out the salt and road grime that accumulates in the frame rails and suspension components. You need to hit the frame with enough water pressure to actually dislodge the packed-in salt and mud, not just rinse the surface. I use a pressure washer at home and spend 10 to 15 minutes really soaking the frame, control arms, leaf springs, and anywhere else salt can hide. Pay special attention to the inside of the frame rails because that is where moisture gets trapped and does the most damage. Some guys take their trucks to self-service car washes and use the undercarriage sprayer, which works if you do it slow enough and hit all the areas. If you have access to a lift or can get the truck up on ramps safely, getting under there with a flashlight lets you see exactly where the crud is building up. Winter is when this matters most, but spring is when you should do a thorough cleaning to flush out everything that accumulated over the cold months. I have seen trucks that looked clean on the outside, but had pounds of salt-caked mud hiding inside the frame that was eating the metal from the inside out. The difference between a truck with a solid frame at 15 years old and one that is rusted through comes down to whether the owner washed the undercarriage or ignored it. In winter climates, wash the undercarriage at least once a month during salt season. The salt sits on your frame, holds moisture against the metal, and eats through it slowly but surely. I have seen 10-year-old trucks with frames so rusted that suspension components have nothing solid to bolt to. Frame rust can total an otherwise good truck. I have had customers with $15,000 worth of truck, good engine, solid transmission, but the frame is compromised and unsafe. Brake lines are another rust victim. I have seen corroded lines burst while someone is driving. Brake line replacement costs $300 to $800, but that is minor compared to the accident risk. Number 11. Regular software updates. This one surprises people because they do not think of their GMC truck as a computer, but that is exactly what it is. Modern GMC vehicles rely heavily on ECU programming for engine performance, transmission shifts, fuel economy, everything. GMC releases software updates that address drivability issues, improve fuel economy, and optimize performance. I have seen trucks come in with rough shifting or poor fuel economy, and a simple software update fixed everything. No parts, no labor, just updated programming. I had a customer with a 2018 Sierra getting terrible fuel economy, about 2 mpg worse than it should. Updated the ECU software and the fuel economy jumped right back to normal. The old programming had a bug in the fuel trim calculations. Your GMC dealer can check if updates are available. Some are free, others might cost $100 to $150 if you are out of warranty. That is cheap compared to chasing drivability problems. Check for updates annually or anytime you are at the dealer for service. Transmission updates are especially important because GMC has released multiple updates over the years that improve shift quality and prevent premature wear. I have seen transmissions that were shifting hard or slipping, and the update smoothed everything out because it corrected shift timing and line pressure. Some updates address cold start issues where the truck runs rough for the first minute or two after starting in cold weather. Others fix throttle response problems or improve towing performance by adjusting transmission behavior under load. I had a guy come in complaining his truck felt sluggish when merging onto highways, and it turned out there was an update that recalibrated the throttle mapping and transmission kickdown logic. After the update, the truck responded way better and he was happy. The thing is, these updates exist because GMC learns from real-world data across thousands of trucks and finds ways to make them run better. If you never update, you are stuck with the version of the programming from when your truck rolled off the assembly line, which might be years old and missing dozens of improvements. Some updates even improve emission system performance and prevent check engine lights from popping up for minor sensor readings that are within acceptable range. Keep your truck software current and you will avoid a lot of the weird quirks and problems that plague guys who never bother with updates. Number 10. Differential and transfer case fluid service. If you own a 4WD GMC truck, your differential and transfer case fluids are probably neglected right now. I see this constantly. Guys are religious about engine oil changes but forget about the gear oils in the drivetrain. Replace differential fluid every 50,000 miles, more often if you tow heavy or use 4WD frequently. Transfer case fluid should follow the same schedule. These fluids break down over time and stop lubricating properly. When that happens, gears start grinding and wearing. I have torn down differentials that failed from old fluid. The gears are scored, bearings are pitted, and the whole assembly needs rebuilding. Differential rebuild costs $1,500 to $3,000. Transfer case rebuilds run $2,000 to $3,500. The worst part is, these failures are completely avoidable with a $150 fluid change every 50,000 miles. I pulled apart a rear differential last month from a 2014 Silverado with 180,000 miles. The owner never changed the fluid once. The ring and pinion gears had teeth that were worn down like rounded-off nubs instead of sharp, clean edges. The gear oil that came out looked like black sludge with metal flakes suspended in it. When gear oil breaks down, it loses its ability to create that protective film between the gears, so you get metal-on-metal contact at high loads. If you tow regularly or use 4WD in rough terrain, that breakdown happens even faster because of the heat and stress. I have seen transfer cases seize up completely from neglected fluid, leaving the truck stuck in 4WD or unable to engage 4WD at all. The bearings in these assemblies are particularly vulnerable because they rely on clean oil with the right additives to handle the side loads from torque transfer. Some guys think because the differential is sealed it never needs service, but that is dead wrong. Sealed just means it does not leak easily, not that the fluid lasts forever. If you hear whining, growling, or clunking from your differential or transfer case, you have probably already got damage from old fluid and you need to get it checked immediately before it grenades completely. The service itself costs $100 to $200 for differential, $150 to $250 for transfer case, maybe $350 to $450 total every 50,000 miles to protect components that cost thousands to rebuild. I change mine every 40,000 miles because I tow regularly. The fluid comes out black and smells burnt, which tells me it needed changing. Number 9. Air and cabin filter replacement. This one seems minor until you realize dirty filters are costing you power and fuel economy. Your engine air filter should be replaced every 15,000 to 30,000 miles depending on driving conditions. Cabin filters should be changed annually. A clogged engine air filter restricts airflow, which reduces power and hurts fuel economy. I have seen trucks lose 1 to 2 mpg from a dirty air filter. Over 15,000 miles, that is 30 to 60 extra gallons of fuel. At $3.50 per gallon, you just spent $105 to $210 extra because you did not replace a $25 filter. The cabin filter affects your HVAC system. When it clogs, your blower motor works harder and can burn out prematurely, which costs $300 to $500 to replace. I replace my engine air filter every oil change if I drive in dusty conditions. Otherwise, every other oil change. Takes 5 minutes and costs $15 to $30. Cabin filter once a year in spring. Another $15 to $25 in 5 minutes. Number 8. Suspension and steering inspection. Your suspension and steering components take a beating, especially if you drive rough roads or tow heavy. I recommend a thorough inspection every 50,000 miles minimum. Ball joints, tie rods, and shocks wear over time. When ball joints get loose, you get clunking noises, steering wander, and uneven tire wear. I have seen ball joint failures where the joint separated completely and the wheel folded under the truck. That is dangerous. Ball joint replacement costs $400 to $800 per side. Tie rod replacement runs $200 to $400 per side. Shock replacement varies. Basic shocks cost $300 to $600 for all 4 installed. Quality shocks like Bilstein run $800 to $1,500, but they improve ride quality and towing stability. I always tell customers if you tow regularly or drive rough roads, spend the extra money on quality shocks because they hold up way better and actually improve your truck's capability. Cheap shocks wear out in 50,000 to 60,000 miles and make your truck bounce around like a pogo stick. Good shocks last 100,000 miles or more and keep your truck planted, which matters when you are hauling a heavy trailer down the highway. I run Bilsteins on my own truck, and the difference in ride quality and stability is night and day compared to the factory shocks. If you're on a budget, at least replace shocks in pairs. Do the rear first if you tow, or the front first if you do not. Worn shocks also increase your stopping distance because the truck bounces under braking instead of staying flat and controlled, which is a real safety issue that most people do not think about. During tire rotations, have your mechanic check ball joints and tie rods for play. I replace shocks around 100,000 miles as preventive maintenance. Worn shocks reduce braking performance and stability, especially with a trailer. Number 7. Battery health checks. Nothing is more frustrating than a dead battery leaving you stranded. I see this all the time. People ignore their battery until it fails at the worst possible moment. Inspect battery terminals for corrosion twice a year. Clean them if you see white or green crusty buildup. That corrosion creates resistance that reduces starting power and can cause weird electrical issues. Test battery voltage twice a year, once before summer, once before winter. A healthy battery shows 12.6 volts or higher with the engine off. Under 12.4 volts means it is getting weak. Under 12 volts means it is on borrowed time. Most auto parts stores will test your battery for free. I do this every spring and fall so I can replace the battery on my schedule, not when I am late for work in January. GMC truck batteries typically last 4 to 6 years. If your battery is over 4 years old and tests marginal, replace it proactively. A new battery costs $120 to $200. A tow plus emergency replacement costs $250 to $400. Number 6. Tire rotation and alignment. This is one of the easiest ways to save money, yet people skip it constantly. Rotate your tires every 6,000 to 7,500 miles. Check alignment annually or anytime you hit a pothole hard. GMC trucks are heavy and deliver serious torque. This wears tires unevenly if you do not rotate them. I have seen trucks burn through tires in 25,000 miles because the owner never rotated. With proper rotation, those same tires last 50,000 miles. Do the math. A set of GMC truck tires cost $800 to $1,200. Getting 50,000 miles instead of 25,000 miles doubles your investment. Rotation costs $40 to $60. So over 50,000 miles, you spend maybe $300 on rotations, but save $800 to $1,200 on premature replacement. Alignment is just as important. Misalignment causes one edge of the tire to wear faster. It costs $80 to $120 for 4-wheel alignment. That is cheap compared to $1,000 in wasted tire tread. I rotate my tires every 6,000 miles and check alignment annually. My tires wear evenly and last their full rated mileage. Number 5. Fuel system cleaning. Your fuel system needs periodic cleaning to prevent injector clogging and performance loss, but you have got to use the right products. GMC approved cleaners formulated for your specific engine type. For gasoline GMC trucks, use top-tier certified fuel and add a quality cleaner like Chevron Techron or BG44K every 10,000 to 15,000 miles. For Duramax diesels, use diesel-specific cleaners like Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme or Stanodyne Performance Formula. Never use gasoline cleaners in a diesel. I add fuel system cleaner every 10,000 miles as preventive maintenance. Costs about $15 to $25 per treatment. This prevents injector clogging that causes rough running, misfires, and reduced power. Clogged injectors eventually need professional cleaning at $300 to $500, or replacement at $400 to $800 per injector. Carbon buildup on intake valves is huge in direct injection engines. Professional carbon cleaning costs $400 to $800. Using quality fuel system cleaners regularly prevents most of this. I have seen engines with 150,000 miles that have minimal deposits because the owner used good fuel and regular cleaners. Number 4. Brake fluid replacement. Brake fluid absorbs moisture over time. That moisture lowers the boiling point and causes internal corrosion in brake lines, calipers, and the ABS module. Change brake fluid every 2 to 3 years regardless of mileage. Old brake fluid with moisture can boil under hard braking, creating vapor that compresses instead of transmitting pressure. This causes brake fade where your pedal goes soft. The corrosion is worse long term. It eats at brake line interiors, caliper pistons, and ABS components. I have seen brake lines corrode from the inside and burst while driving. That means no brakes. Brake line replacement costs $300 to $800. ABS module replacement costs $800 to $1,500. All preventable with $80 to $120. Brake fluid changes every 2 to 3 years. I change my brake fluid every 2 years like clockwork. The old fluid comes out dark and contaminated. The new fluid goes in clean. My brake system stays healthy. If your brake fluid is dark or brown, it is contaminated and overdue. Number 3. Coolant system flush. Your cooling system keeps your engine from overheating and destroying itself. Replace coolant every 50,000 miles without fail. Old coolant loses its protective additives and becomes corrosive, which leads to radiator leaks, heater core failures, and head gasket problems. I have seen engines with blown head gaskets because the owner ran old degraded coolant. Head gasket replacement costs $1,500 to $3,000. Old coolant also stops transferring heat effectively, causing localized hotspots that can warp cylinder heads or crack blocks. A proper coolant flush costs $100 to $200. They drain the old coolant, flush the system, and refill with fresh coolant mixed to the correct ratio. I flush mine at 50,000 mile intervals. The old coolant comes out rusty and dirty. Fresh coolant goes in with new protective additives. Use the coolant type specified in your owner's manual. Dex Cool for most GM engines. Do not mix coolant types. This causes chemical reactions that create sludge. Check coolant level monthly when the engine is cold. Number 2. Transmission fluid checks. Transmission fluid is the lifeblood of your transmission. Inspect it every 30,000 miles and replace it if it is burnt or dirty. I have seen so many transmission failures that could have been prevented with simple fluid changes. GMC recommends lifetime transmission fluid in many models, but that lifetime is based on ideal conditions and warranty period, not the actual life of your truck. In my 20+ years, I have never seen a transmission last its full potential on original fluid. Check transmission fluid at every oil change if your truck has a dipstick. It should be bright red or pink and smell slightly sweet. If it is brown or black, smells burnt, or has particles in it, change it immediately. Even if it looks okay, change it every 50,000 to 60,000 miles as preventive maintenance. This costs $200 to $400. Compare that to $3,000 to $5,000 for transmission rebuild when it fails from old fluid. I change my transmission fluid every 50,000 miles without exception. Every time, the old fluid comes out darker than new fluid. If you tow heavy, drive in mountains, or drive in stop-and-go traffic, change it every 30,000 to 40,000 miles. Heat is the #1 killer of automatic transmissions. Number 1. Regular oil and filter changes. This is number 1 because it is the most important maintenance you will ever do. Use manufacturer-recommended oil and change it every 5,000 to 7,500 miles, not 10,000. Not when the oil life monitor says 0%. Every 5,000 to 7,500 miles, period. I have torn down engines that failed from extended oil change intervals. The sludge buildup is unbelievable. Oil passages clogged, bearings starved, camshafts scored, all because someone believed they could go 10,000 or 15,000 miles on synthetic oil. Oil breaks down from heat, combustion byproducts, and mechanical shearing. Even the best synthetic oil loses its protective additives over time. When those additives are gone, the oil stops protecting your engine properly. Sludge forms when oil breaks down and oxidizes. It coats internal components and blocks oil passages. I have seen engines where sludge blocked the pickup screen in the oil pan, starving the pump and destroying the whole engine. Complete engine replacement costs $5,000 to $10,000. Use the oil grade specified in your owner's manual. For most modern GMC engines, that is 0W20 or 5W30 full synthetic. Do not use conventional oil in engines designed for synthetic. Do not use thicker oils thinking it is better. You will reduce fuel economy. I change my oil every 5,000 miles like clockwork. Costs me $60 to $80 for synthetic oil and filter. My engine has 230,000 miles and still runs like new because clean oil has protected it from day one. Friends who stretched oil changes to save money are on their second or third engine. The oil filter matters too. Use quality filters from reputable manufacturers like AC Delco, Fram Ultra, or Mobil 1. Cheap filters have poor filtration and bypass valves that open too easily. Check oil level every month. If you are burning or leaking oil, find out why and fix it. Running low causes damage fast. If you tow heavy, drive in dusty conditions, or make lots of short trips, change oil every 5,000 miles maximum. This maintenance routine is not complicated or expensive when you spread it out over the life of your truck, but skipping it will cost you thousands in repairs that were completely preventable. Oil changes every 5,000 to 7,500 miles. Transmission fluid checks and changes, coolant flushes, brake fluid replacement, fuel system cleaning, tire care, battery maintenance, suspension inspections, filter changes, drivetrain fluid service, software updates, and rust prevention. Follow this schedule and your GMC will run strong past 300,000 miles. I have seen it thousands of times in my career. The guys who maintain their trucks properly drive them forever with minimal repair costs. The guys who skip maintenance pay for it with expensive failures and shortened vehicle life. Your GMC is a serious investment. Protect it with proper maintenance, and it will reward you with decades of reliable service.